Hello, and welcome to the Homeschool Conversations Africa podcast. Here, we discuss homeschooling from the African perspective and the unique challenges that come with it.
If you're considering homeschooling, we hope to inspire you as you take this bold step. If you're already a homeschooler, we're here to share encouragement for this wonderful journey we're on to educate our children in the best way we can. We are your hosts, Jifa Andam and
Carissa Nete Mabel.
Let's dive right into today's conversation.
Previously on Homeschool Conversations Africa.
We're excited to have with us today another veteran homeschooler. Her name is Ghanaughn Brown. Ghanaughn runs an organization that helps homeschoolers like you and me. I'm not going to say much because that's kind of why she's here today. She's going to tell us a whole lot about her organization.
The GCLS, it stands for Global Citizen Leadership Schools. Our goal and our aim with the school is to train young hearts and minds to be global citizens and to be factors of change and agents of change right where they stand. We teach that there's no such thing as small voices, even if they're small bodies. They have a big voice. And so a big part of what we do is connecting real world issues and bring them forth with our students, and they learn how to solve problems. We focus on the sustainable development goals. Nigeria has their own set of sustainability development goals. They are congruent for the most part with the UN, which is United Nations sustainability development goals. And so for each learning period, we may focus on a SDG goal. So we just finished 4, which was about SDG Goal 4, which is about health and well-being, and the kids were able to create projects on how they can first of all identify a problem and then being able to solve a problem, right? So part of being a global citizen is being able to see the problems around you and then figure out how to solve the problem.
So if you think of, when I think of shall I say organizations, or I don't want to call you a school, like GCLS. You're a school, I guess. Like GCLS. I think that parents who would love to homeschool, but just have to work. You have both of them having to work, might really find this as a great resource or a great option. So if you have parents like that, with what you're saying, are you saying that they could have their kids pretty much in school or in classes, whether live or through the portal, or what, occupied all day long, if they wanted them to be?
Yes, I think the beauty of being in Africa, and I'm going to speak specifically about my experience in Nigeria, and I'm going to speak specifically about my experience in Nigeria, is that I had a lot of help. I had a lot of help in Nigeria, and most families that I encounter in Nigeria do have help. They have a nanny, nannies, house help, or things like that. And typically what I have found, and the beauty of that versus being in, let's say, in America in general, and Los Angeles definitely, is that to get that type of help is very expensive, here in Los Angeles. I mean, to get some like school nanny, you're looking at $3,000 a month. And that's like, that's like if you only have one kid. Imagine having 4 kids. You're probably going to spend $5,000 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The beauty of our system is that we can work with your nannies because of the fact that a lot of it's a live component or an online component. So the nannies don't have to be teachers. They don't have to. They just have to make sure the children log on to the system.
So it's more supervision.
Exactly. Just supervise, get them online, get them on the schedule, and all of that. They don't have to be the one necessarily teaching because we offer so much help online. We even offer math help and just tutoring where our teachers are just online on Zoom waiting for kids to come in and get help if they need help. So there's so much assistance that our school provides So
Yeah.
if your child needs that assistance or needs help with writing or handwriting or whatever, we have the tutoring already built in the system, and then we also have our live classes or whatnot. And then if a child needs help with something, then they can just email us, and then one of our teachers would totally use that time to help your child during that time. So we communicate very well with our parents. Some parents do work, and obviously, the nannies, may not be able to give maybe as much as a parent may have been able to give in that situation.
Yeah.
But still, something is better than nothing, and
Yes. Yeah.
then we can work with you as a mom, dad, and say, okay, what's missing? How can we step in?
Yeah.
Just okay, make sure your child logs on at this time, and then we can help them with that.
Yes. And
Um,
I think of a lot of parents these days may have to work, but they do have the luxury of working from home.
right.
Post COVID, that's kind of common. So it may be, I do have some friends like that. And so they are there. They're busy though, but their kids are working, so their kids are being
Yep.
homeschooled, but they're working with, yes, a school like GCLS and are being able to get their work. So you can check in with them, in between your meetings or what, but the work is happening. So I just wanted to clarify that so people know, so if you find yourself in that situation and you're thinking about homeschooling and you're wondering, how can I do this? Well, this is an answer for you.
And I think that you bring up an excellent point about working from home, but that also brings up another set of challenges, right? In regards to scheduling, computer, laptop, data.
Yep.
And all of that I'm
Those are real issues.
Yeah. And so I want to encourage you that if you are working from home, one thing I encourage parents to do, and as I speak with families that are working from home, is to put your schedule first. Put your schedule first. If you have meetings, if you have, focus time, put that time first, because you would feel like it's impossible if you're trying to do, especially if you have a young child that's not independent, it will be really impossible. You will feel like it's impossible if your child is not independent and needs all of this from you, because maybe they don't really associate with the nanny that much on that level. And you have all this work to do. So my encouragement is always put you first in the household, and everything else comes into place, which means put your schedule first, put your meetings first, your focus time first. And during those times, give your children independent work to do. Create games where they're being rewarded for independence. Wow, you're able to sit here and watch this for an hour. Or you're able to do this for an hour. I'm going to put marbles in a jar, and if we get so many marbles, then we're going to go to, Cold Stones and get some ice cream, or we're going to whatever. You have to really, but the hard part is when you try to do both at the same time. And I found that families could, depending on their child and their ability to have independent time, they find it really tough.
Yeah.
So all that, put you first. Give your kid a television show to watch that's educational. Have the nanny take them out to the park. Your kids will, even if they don't make the live class, which is why we record the classes, they can still watch the live after. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
yes.
families
No,
that work from home.
that's a great point, and you actually just buttressed the point that I was trying to make. So I was just going to mention an app, or should I say, yes, an app or a program that I've used some, and other families are using, that kind of deal with this very problem. And I spoke with the developer or the CEO of the company, and it's really great. It's called Aneta. So dear listeners, if you have this challenge, this is something that you can look into. It's ANETA, Aneta, ed.com. You can check it out. But what it allows you to do is, it allows you, once your child has their laptop or their tablet, whatever they have their classes on, you can schedule in all their classes, and it's kind of friendly for kids who are even toddlers, because it works with pictures, and a light comes blinking, and it's a fun, colorful page. And when the light is blinking and they click on that, it takes them directly to, say, their GCL GCLS live classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and they can, and they can take their class there. So I found it, and it also has great resources in terms of like educational. You mentioned like educational shows or
Yeah.
things for them to watch. Again, you can plug all that in, so it's a nice way to make sure that your kids are protected. You're not just leaving them, and the scheduling part helps. I remembered when you were mentioning it, because that's exactly how that mom started it. She was going crazy during COVID, like with trying to work, because she was working full time and having to like deal with her kids, and like, mom, can you log me in? Mom, can you do this? And so that's that's how come she came up with it. So I can just see, I just thought of it and I was like, oh, this would go great. These two, GCLS and this app, will go hand in hand. So anyway, that's just a helpful tool that I just remembered.
I'm glad you're mentioning that. I'm glad you're mentioning that, because I think as much as I love homeschooling, it's important that we're also, talking about it in an authentic and real way. It's not always easy, and you will have to make adjustments. It's not, every family is different. Every family dynamic is different. Every kid and their personality is different. And so I'm so grateful that we're having the conversation where we can speak about homeschooling in truth, right? Like, it's not this panacea, heaven. There's so many things about it, but we had to make adjustments. Like, we had to really make real adjustments. However, I've always felt like the pros have been much better than the cons. If there were cons, there were just adjustments that I just had to make. So it's good that we are speaking, so that our listeners, and parents aren't thinking, and then they try and like, okay, I'm having a problem. I shouldn't have a problem. It's okay that you have a problem. It's okay if it's not easy. It's okay if you want to.
It's not perfect. Good things don't come easy.
It's not. I switched my curriculum and I can't even count. My kid is 15, 16 years old, and we're still homeschooling. And every year I ask myself, is this working for us?
Yes, and that's a good thing to do, right? Yes.
It is. Because it has to work for you. It has to work for you. It has to work for your children. It has to be the best of what, what your goals are. And each year I approach homeschooling with that truth of like, okay, is it working for us? Because I don't raise a banner or a flag like this is the way it has to be. I'm always open to the idea that we can switch and we can change if this isn't working. And by being open to the idea has helped me to be so open to being creative, to think out the box, and to not feel like I'm locked into something. I've always felt like education is a family choice. However we ended up is always going to be a family choice. And it's always going to be something that I've considered my children and their character. I've considered myself in it as well, as we go along this journey. I don't want to ever feel like I did it because I had to do it, or I feel locked in, or, I was a part of this group and this is what they did. It's like, no, I have to.
You wouldn't even do it well. In that case.
Unless it's a choice. And I've always given myself that choice every year, and 4 times with each of the kids, right? Because they're all different.
That's true.
What works for one doesn't mean it works for all.
Wow. So the big question, like, where maybe you can tell us, or you can tell us where to find this information, because I'm sure people are wondering, this sounds great, but what's it going to cost me? So.
Yeah. All right. So I would say the first start is our Instagram page. We find that we get a lot of communication through DMs on our Instagram page. A lot of moms are on Instagram. So we do have some things up there on Instagram. Our Instagram account is really active. We try to give tips on there, motivation. We try to inspire families. We try to create like a little bit of a hub for
Mhm.
families that are like-minded or considering this wavelength. We want to kind of create like a community there on the GCLS Instagram page, and we also kind of keep you up to date on the things that we're doing and maybe some of
Okay.
our PLLs, which we call presentation of learning, like if our kids are presenting, so you can see a
Mm.
little bit of that type of action on there, or kids projects. In regards to pricing, we actually just changed our pricing recently. So, and we're also changing our website. So those, our
Okay.
website and stuff is going to be live soon. Our
Okay.
pricing right now is at 25,000, I think, 25,000 naira. Please, I'm saying I think allegedly. I have to go back to the
That's
whole,
all right.
a whole committee. And it's important that people know it is a whole committee. We have a whole board of people with us at GCLS. We have educators
Mm.
from on an international level, all working with us at GCLS. If we were to actually present our school as like a school in Lagos, like we would definitely could charge as much as like a Saint Saviour's or a Corona with the level
Mm.
of talent and skill and resources.
Mm.
I mean, I even said myself, I went to Harvard, right, and did the training.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so our goal is to keep in line with the SDG goals and create an equal education and really allow international and challenging um, and rigorous. And I use the word international because if children want to leave from here, and like I said, go to London or go to America, they know what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we try to create that quality level of training with our team. And we don't call our teachers teachers. We do not. We call them educational facilitators because you, my friend, my moms are the teachers.
Mm.
Partner with you. We're just facilitators, okay?
Mm.
So
Mm.
we facilitate education in your household. We facilitate learning, for
Yeah.
each individual child, and it's so individualized. So I just want to make sure that so there's a lot of training that's involved. We have a whole board. Um,
Okay.
of people involved in the curriculum that have done this for years. We have about like 50 years of just intense educational experience all across the board, if
Mm.
not 100, if I consider some of the other board members that we have. So
Mm.
my point is, our goal, however, even though we could actually go to Lagos and be in Ikoyi, and Ikoyi is kind of like the highbrow area for those that don't know Lagos, Nigeria, and we
Mm.
could charge like 3 million naira a term, which is like $10,000 a term, as some of these
Wow.
schools do.
Mm.
Our main objective is to not.
Mm.
GCLS is a CSR, which is a community service
Mm.
arm of RC Brown Homes, which is a real estate and development firm. And
Okay.
they fund a lot of GCLS. So therefore, we can offer a highly subsidized price of
Okay.
schooling to our families. So
Mm.
so GCLS is now 25,000 a month, which will be about
Okay.
75,000 naira for a term. I
Okay.
mean, you live in
Yeah.
Lagos. That is, I mean,
Mm.
can you name a school with this level of staff and team for 75,000 naira a month? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Wow.
exist at
Okay.
all. And
Okay.
dollar wise, what's 75,000 naira in dollars now with the change?
Let me think for a minute. 100 and
I would say like
something.
$200, I
I don't
think.
think it's quite up to 200. It's like, I
Yeah,
don't even know if it's up to 150.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Right? For a whole term.
Mm.
About $100 for a whole term, paying
Mm.
all of our staff, all of our resources,
Mm.
everything. So it's
Well.
highly subsidized. So
Mm.
that's for our homeschool day, and
Mm.
they get access to our online curriculum, which we manage, which measures the statistics and kind of challenges the kids that way, gives them that individual. They get access to all of our live classes, our virtual field trips, and whatnot. And also a lot of counseling and tutoring and all of that stuff along the way. Counseling, like education counseling,
Mm.
so that's that. And then if a family is interested in the electives, I believe it is 15,000 naira. And that's for the whole entire family. So let's say you
Okay.
have 4 children, and you want your children to be involved with the elective program. Your household only has to pay 15,000
Okay.
naira for the
Okay.
whole
Okay.
entire, like all four of
Mm.
your children. So it
Wow.
goes by the household, not the
All
individual.
right. Mm.
But
Okay.
for the actual homeschooling day, because we do so much measuring metrics, individual, whatever, it goes by each child, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
for the homeschool, it's
Yes.
25,000 a month
That
for
makes
each
sense.
child.
You
But
don't
the
pay
elect
school fees for families, you pay for
exactly,
individual children. So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Plus the electives, the languages, and the virtual field trips and things like that is just per month for the family. We
Okay.
allow the families to enjoy that as a total, as a whole. So those are our
Okay.
two main pricing structures. We do have winter camps and things like that, like our in-person events, like we have in March. I think that'll be about 5,000 naira per kid, largely
Okay.
because we have all the resources. It's a full day and snack and
Mm,
all that stuff. It's from
mm,
like 10 to 3. So
yeah.
we do have those one-off events that we do. Um, in our different camps and stuff like that. But that's overall, that's our pricing. So all of that's going to be written down and put on our links in our Instagram page. And so you can go ahead and follow us at GCL underscore schools, GCL underscore
Underscore
schools.
school.
And whether you want to participate or not participate, or you just want a like-minded space,
Community. Yeah.
definitely, because I love the fact that homeschooling is burgeoning and is growing in African countries, but we
Mm,
still have a ways
yeah.
to go. We have a ways to go.
Yes.
And I was sharing with you earlier how I would intern to spaces, like when I was in Lagos, Nigeria, where I didn't feel comfortable mentioning the fact that I homeschooled my kids, because the
Yes.
aunties and uncles would look at me like, what is she doing? This American. Ah, my sister. Ah, this
Yeah. No, I'm
American.
really thankful to COVID because that has changed a
It
lot,
has.
really. It really has. It really has. So I don't think we're so strange anymore.
Let's
Thankfully.
say it's better. Let's say it's better. Let's
Yes.
say it's better. I don't want to claim it just yet. Okay, let's just say we're
Yeah.
a part of it getting better. You are a part of it getting better.
Mhm.
We're a part
Yeah.
of it getting better. We're a part of creating the resources and community for families to be like, there is another way to do this. And
Yeah.
my kid will be okay. My kid is Ivy League bound, and she's been homeschooled since officially, legally homeschooled, like taking her out of the school system since age 6.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's Harvard
Mm-hmm.
bound. And it's
Yeah.
so hard for families to realize that that's possible if my kid never stepped into this highbrow
But it is
elementary
very
to
possible. Yeah, it
better,
is
better.
very
It's
possible.
preferred. Let me say
Mm-hmm.
this before for your
Mm-hmm.
listeners before we go. It's preferred. If you actually do research, more statistically, homeschoolers are accepted at a higher rate to Ivy League schools than traditional school kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
But
I've read
you
some of
have to
those
know.
stats.
Yeah, but there's a whole theory on how to kind of handle that time period, and I'm going to offer that type of counseling as well. Now that I'm homeschooling through high school, that is
Mm,
something that I think is important for us to figure out how to homeschool these later ages and the
mm,
options, because there's a way to do it. It's not just being homeschooled and then okay, all of a sudden no. There's a way to go about it. What is your child focus on? What are they doing if they're homeschooled? How are they using that time? It's not about being all over the place anymore and being a part of 20 million clubs. It's about having an interest and seeing that interest all the way through.
mm.
So college, so really understanding that now with Ivy Leagues and colleges is a whole different conversation. I told you we'd do part
I
one,
know.
part
I
two,
was
part
like,
three.
we're gonna have to have you back on because
Yes,
there's
yes,
so much that we can talk about. Yeah, but
definitely.
Um, we're getting ready to wrap up here because an
Yes,
hour has gone by really quickly. And
yes.
so, before we go, is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know about GCLS? I will put the Instagram link
Handle.
name. Yes,
It,
handle. Thank you.
yes.
The Instagram handle in the show notes. I'll also put that for the other app that I mentioned in the show notes as well. And, any other information that Ghanaughn gives that she thinks is useful for you to have. But yes, guys, definitely check out GCLS. They're
Yes.
doing some amazing things and they could really help your children. It doesn't have to be for everything. it can be just for the electives, like she said. You can sign up. So yes, just take a look at it and see how you can benefit from it if you feel like you need that. Yes. So any final message for our listeners? Ghanaughn?
Oh, yes. I just would like to say, I just want to encourage families that are on this journey that you really are not alone in this space. It's not like, and I know we've spoken before about, it's not the panacea. It's not going to always be the quick fix, if you will. Everything that's good takes time and effort, and our children are worth exploring what is best for them.
Yeah.
As much as I love homeschooling, as I said before, I've never championed it as if it's the answer to everybody for everything. I've always stayed very open to the idea of figuring out what is best for you at this time. But I do want to encourage you that if you are a listener, it means that this is something that you are open to. And if it is something that you are open to, I encourage you to explore it and give it 100%. Otherwise, you'll never really fully understand what it fully is if you're not giving 100% to it.
That's
100% of
true.
the commitment. And when I say commitment, I'm meaning, okay, it's tough, but I'm not going to give up. And just because it gets a little tough doesn't mean homeschooling didn't work. It just means that method didn't work, or that curriculum didn't work, or that time of day didn't work, or maybe your child just needed a different snack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I encourage you to give yourself a time frame and say, okay, you know what, this year, from this time to this time, I'm just going to focus on homeschooling. And if it gets tough, I'm just going to choose a different method. If it gets tough, I'm going to choose a different whatever, but I'm not going to give up on it. Like, give yourself a time frame and
Yeah.
commit to that time frame. That's what I mean by giving 100%. Not, oh, it's good, and then I had a challenge and then I just stopped. You know what I mean? Because we have challenges with everything. And then
Yes.
you will see, as you kind of overcome the different challenges, that you've literally created your own system, your own thing, your own way of doing things that completely looks different than the way I do it and the way Jifa do it. But it's yours, and your kids are thriving in that space. And so that's why it's important, even as we have these homeschooling conversations, that we don't compare homeschools.
Yeah.
We can never compare homeschools because my kids are different from your kids. They need something complete. I'm different than you. My personality is different than you.
Yeah.
The things I have, right? The things I
Yeah.
have patience for, you may not have patience for. The things you have patience for, I definitely may not have patience for. You get what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
have to create and give yourself space to make it and create it to look like how it needs to look for you to thrive. And it is completely okay. And I want to give yourself the freedom to know that it is completely okay if it doesn't look like anybody else you've ever seen before. But if it's working for you and your kids are thriving in it and you're joyful and your kids are joyful and they're able to create interest and figure out, be bored. Do you realize how the privilege of being bored? Do you realize how much creativity is
Come
explored
out
through the
of that.
space of boredom?
Yeah.
Not having to do a bunch of mundane tasks and mundane whatever. The kids just go outside and look at nature. Do you realize how many lessons are involved in just being bored and being able to be alone with your thoughts and not be activated every single second of the day? What a
Yeah.
privilege that our
Yeah.
children get to experience being bored. You
You
know what I mean?
know? Yeah,
Every
absolutely.
second of the day. So I just want to encourage the listeners to kind of commit to a time frame and say, okay, regardless of how it goes, I've committed to this time frame. And then I also want to say, in regards to GCLS, we do have families that even use our day school as a supplement, right? Because we don't have to. You can have access to all of our resources, but all of our grading and reporting and things like that you may not need because your kids might be involved in another program. So we have
Yeah.
children and families kind of using our system however they want to use it. And honestly, when they're ready to transfer to a British school or America's, we just tell them, what do you need from us? What do you need from
You
us?
can get it.
How do you
Yeah.
want the exactly? We're not rigid. Okay, we need the reporting to look like this and that. We give it to you. We need reporting to
Okay.
look like this and that. We give it to you. So we're very flexible in how we respond to the parents if their kids are transitioning to other schools as well. But come up with the time frame. Stick with that time frame. Be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is okay.
Yeah.
And and then find a solution, and that's the joy of it. I'm sure you and I both, our schools do not look like how they did in the beginning at all.
Yes, it keeps changing. I used to wait for it to be perfect. Now I've stopped. I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. We'll just be. I don't think we're ever going to find, that, which is okay, because, the kid, it's not like the kids are, shall I say, static. They change, they grow. So we should change it. We should grow. Yes. Wow.
Yes.
This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Ghanaughn, for coming on, telling us about your own homeschooling experience, and also a lot about GCLS. I'm sure this has been really helpful to our listeners. I am sure a lot of them are going to be heading to your Instagram page to find out some more about GCLS and get in touch. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
As well, if they have questions on high school, and even if they have personal questions on their journey, they're totally free to. It's not just about GCLS in the school. Like if they have questions, that they totally feel free to reach out.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for offering that. I'm sure people will reach out to you. Yes. So, dear listeners, thank you so much once again for sticking with us and joining us on this episode. I am sure that you have learned so much, as I have, and that you have been blessed and encouraged in your homeschool journey. Or again, if you're considering it, if you're thinking about this, that perhaps all the information that you've received today will help you make that decision. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Ghanaughn, for coming on and spending this time with us. And you all have a blessed week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.